Now, I realize that poses some challenges, and so the Navy is going to constantly be in touch with you and Director Bob Beck as well, informing residents as these things progress. But it's going to involve some major digging, which we're required to do, and then some major screening, and then offloading of any contaminants off the island. And that's a long process. Okay, Darius, you can continue. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, Darius, go ahead. Yes. Yes. The reason why Patricia's doing that before, this is the first of our tours, and if you let me loose, I'd have you on the bus for 4 hours talking. So, and you don't want that, I know. So, okay, so we're headed into Site 12, the neighborhood, the residential neighborhood. We just 2 weeks ago completed our last investigation that filled in the remaining data gaps that the Navy and the regulators think they need information on in order to make some big decisions about what to do with the remainder of the area. Okay, so Darius is slowly going through here. And you can see up against this is North Point that we're seeing the back yards of. And San Francisco has the Public Works training facility located right at the back of the bus now. And we're going to continue down here. And then we're going to hit, the first thing we're going to hit is North Point. That's some of the older residences, first built. And there's a solid waste disposal area in North Point that I want to talk a little bit about. And Darius has got to make some tight turns here. So again, this residential neighborhood is 93 acres. The housing started being built in 1968, and it was built in 4 different phases, and it was finished in 1989. And again, initially, the Navy didn't think that there was a radiological problem at Site 12. And many of you know that. Well, we've come to find we found nearly 600 low-level rad objects, almost all of them associated with radium glow-in-the-dark paint. But we found nearly 600 objects so far. The overwhelming majority are in the solid waste disposal areas, but the remainder of them were spread out across the housing development. And that's what the Navy has been surveying in the last year and a half, along with the state of California, surveying all parts of this neighborhood. To ensure that we find any outlying radiological objects. Good job, Darius. He had a tough time with this yesterday. Good job. Okay, so we're going to head towards North Point, and you'll see some interesting things with North Point. We have taken down some buildings, continue to take down buildings in the solid waste disposal area. So there's a process there. First of all, we go inside the house, and you don't see what we're doing, but we're doing asbestos abatement, and we're ripping out anything else that we need to rip out. Then we're identifying anything that can be recycled, and then we send a list to the housing providers if they need spare exterior or interior items. We offer it up to them, and then we carefully demolish the building and screen it. And then you're left, and you'll see this, you're left with a foundation, a concrete pad. We go back then to the foundation and then we scan that, break it up, and remove it. And then we go in, we have data all around the foundations where the solid waste is. And then we will go in and we begin to dig and remove the remainder of the contaminants. The lion's share of the contaminants are already out of each of the solid waste disposal areas, but there is remaining work in each one of them. And that's why we're there. That's why we're still there. And that's why the fences are still up. It's taken many years, and these fences have been up for really far too long. And it's understandable for anyone to think that. We've had a lot of different steps in investigating, and then we've had some contractual problems where we needed to get funding, and then we need to put different contracts in place to do this. This work, these projects in the solid waste disposal areas are very expensive, and so the Navy has to secure funding and then secure a means of contracting a company in order to do the work. And sometimes that can take longer than you would think. Okay, so other radiological contamination isn't the only thing at Site 12. There were lots of activities here. Storage places over the years that were converted to housing, places where automobiles were cleaned and degreased and other vehicles, things like that.